Welcome to the Top 200 Drugs series. In this video, we're making drug names easier to remember. We'll look at how generic and brand names connect, and how the names themselves offer useful clues. Today, we're focusing on anticonvulsants. Here are the 9 name pairs we'll go through. Let's start with the first one. Levetiracetam. The generic name is Levetiracetam. Again, Levetiracetam. The brand name is Keppra. Again, Keppra. It is primarily used to treat seizures. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. In this lesson, we'll begin with a sound-based cue. We listen to the natural rhythm of the words and look for familiar phrases inside them. Let's start with the generic name. Levetiracetam. Focus on the first part. Levet. It sounds like level it. Now listen to the brand name. Keppra. It sounds like keep. Put the two ideas together. Level it. Keep it steady. Think of something that levels something out and then keeps it steady. Level it reminds you of Levetiracetam. Keep reminds you of Keppra. That's your first cue. Here's another option. Levetiracetam can also sound like leave it. Keppra can sound like keep it. Leave it. Keep it. That's the second cue. Use whichever cue feels more natural to you. If these cues don't work for you, you can use the backup method. Just repeat the smallest distinctive sound chunks to build muscle memory. Levetira, Keppra. Levetira, Keppra. Levetira, Keppra. The rhythm itself builds memory. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's take a quick look at how the name is built. Breaking it into parts can sometimes make it easier to remember. First, the generic name, Levetiracetam. The prefix leve is derived from levo, referring to its stereochemistry. The suffix racetam indicates that it belongs to the racetam class. Second, let's look at the brand name. Keppra. The beginning, kep, may suggest the word keep, which aligns with our sound cue. The ending, ra, functions as a brand-style ending. And that's Levetiracetam and Keppra. Next, Phenytoin. Let's take a look at Phenytoin. The generic name is Phenytoin. Again, Phenytoin. The brand name is Dilantin. Again, Dilantin. It is primarily used to treat seizures. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. Listen to the beginning of the generic name. Phenny. Phenny sounds like funny. Now listen to the brand name. Dilantin. Dilantin can remind you of 2 lanterns. Di suggests 2, and lantin sounds like lantern. Put those together. 2 funny lanterns. This is the first cue. If that image doesn't work for you, there's another option. Phenny can also sound like penny, and Dilantin can remind you of deal. Think of a penny deal. This is the second cue. If you prefer a mechanical method, repeat the full rhythmic pairing. Phenny, Dilantin. Phenny, Dilantin. Phenny, Dilantin. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. The first part, phenny, comes from the phenyl groups in its chemical structure. Phenytoin contains 2 phenyl rings as part of its molecular framework. The ending toin reflects its classification as a hydantoin derivative. Phenytoin belongs to the hydantoin class of anticonvulsants. Now let's look at the brand name. The prefix di can reflect the 2 phenyl groups in the structure. The ending lantin is likely a brand-style variation associated with hydantoin, the chemical class of phenytoin. And that's Phenytoin and Dilantin. Next, let's take a look at Gabapentin. The generic name is Gabapentin. Again, Gabapentin. The brand name is Neurontin. Again, Neurontin. It is primarily used to treat seizures and postherpetic neuralgia. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. Start with the first part of the generic name. GABA. It comes directly from GABA gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA is the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. In simple terms, GABA works in the nervous system. Now look at the brand name. Neurontin. The prefix neuro refers to nerves or the nervous system. So the connection becomes straightforward. GABA works in the nervous system. Neuro means nervous system. Both names point to the same idea. Gabapentin, Neurontin. If you prefer a repetition method, repeat the core pairing. GABA, neuron. GABA, neuron. GABA, neuron. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's take a quick look at how the name is built. First, the generic name, gabapentin. Its official naming origin combines GABA with a pentanoic acid derivative. The first part, GABA, refers to GABA, the brain's main inhibitory neurotransmitter. The ending, pentin, is related to a pentanoic acid structure in the molecule. Second, the brand name, Neurontin. Neuro suggests neuron or neuralgia, while pontin functions as a brand-style ending. And that's gabapentin and Neurontin. Next, let's take a look at Pregabalin. The generic name is Pregabalin. Again, Pregabalin. The brand name is Lyrica. Again, Lyrica. It is primarily used to treat seizures, neuropathic pain, and fibromyalgia. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. Listen to the first part of the generic name. Pregaba. It can sound like pre-gala. A gala often involves music or performance. Now look at the brand name. Lyrica. It comes from lyric, which relates to song or music. So think of it this way. Pre-gala. Lyric. Both words relate to music. Pregabalin, Lyrica. If you prefer a repetition method, focus on the smallest distinctive chunk. Pregaba, Lyrica. Pregaba, Lyrica. Pregaba, Lyrica. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. First, the generic name, Pregabalin. The middle component, GABA, clearly links it to GABA-related drugs. The prefix pre functions as part of the structural naming, and lin serves as a common pharmaceutical ending. Second, the brand name, Lyrica. Lyric suggests song or music, while functions as a brand-style ending. And that's Pregabalin and Lyrica. Next, let's take a look at Lamotrigine. The generic name is Lamotrigine. Again, Lamotrigine. The brand name is Lamictal. Again, Lamictal. The main uses include seizures and bipolar disorder. Now let's look at the memory strategy. Lamotrigine and Lamictal share the same beginning. When the generic and brand names share the same prefix, you don't need a story. You only need to focus on the tail. Trigine versus tau. That is the only distinction you need to remember. Now let's take a quick look at how the name is built. First, the generic name. Lamotrigine contains a triazine ring in its chemical structure. The tri portion refers to this triazine component. Lamotrigine belongs to the triazine class of anticonvulsants. The prefix lamo is likely a constructed element chosen for phonetic balance. Second, let's look at the brand name. The prefix lami is directly derived from Lamotrigine, maintaining brand recognition. The ending tal may reference the term ictal, which relates to seizure activity. And that's Lamotrigine and Lamictal. Next, let's take a look at Topiramate. The generic name is Topiramate. Again, Topiramate. The brand name is Topamax. Again, Topamax. It is primarily used to treat seizures and migraine prevention. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. Listen to the endings of both names. Topiramate. Topamax. Focus on the last part. Mate. And max. They sound similar, but they are not the same. That small difference is the key. Mate, max. Topiramate, Topamax. If these cues don't work for you, there's a backup method. Just repeat the full pairing. Topiramate, Topamax. Topiramate, Topamax. Topiramate, Topamax. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. First, the generic name, Topiramate. The Topra portion is derived from its fructose-related ring structure. The pamate ending refers to its sulfamate functional group. It is classified as a sulfamate-substituted monosaccharide. Second, the brand name, Topamax. Topa retains the root from topiramate, while max suggests maximum, serving as a brand-style emphasis. And that's Topiramate and Topamax. Next, Valproic acid. The generic name is Valproic acid. Again, Valproic acid. The brand name is Depakene. Again, Depakene. It is commonly used to treat seizures, bipolar disorder, and migraines. Now let's build a memory link. This time, instead of a sound-alike cue, we'll use a family rule. Look at the brand names across the valproate family. Valproic acid's brand name is Depakene. D-valproix's brand name is Depakote. The IV form of valproate is called Depakene. Notice something consistent. They all begin with Depa. Many valproate brands share this prefix. So here's the rule. If you see Depa, think valproate family. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. Starting with the generic name, valproic acid. The valve portion is derived from valeric acid, reflecting its 5-carbon backbone. The pro refers to a propyl group in its structure. And OIC acid indicates a carboxylic acid functional group. This name reflects its chemical structure, which is formally known as 2-propylpentanoic acid. Now for the brand name, Depakene. Depa is a constructed brand prefix. Kene is a brand style ending for phonetic balance. And that's valproic acid and Depakene. Next, let's take a look at Carbamazepine. The generic name is Carbamazepine. Again, Carbamazepine. The brand name is Tegretol. Again, Tegretol. It is commonly used to treat seizures and trigeminal neuralgia. Now let's build a memory link. First cue, car, tag. You can hear car at the beginning of Carbamazepine. And in Tegretol, the teg sound is close to tag. Car, tag. Car, tag. Keep that simple sound pairing in mind. Second cue, carbon tiger. From Carbamazepine, think of carbon. From Tegretol, tiger sounds similar to tiger. Carbon, tiger. It's a strong visual anchor. If these cues don't work for you, there's a backup method. Just repeat the smallest distinctive sound chunks to build muscle memory. Carba, tiger. Carba, tiger. Carba, tiger. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. Starting with the generic name, Carbamazepine. Carbam is likely related to a carbamoyl group. Aza often indicates a nitrogen atom replacing carbon within a ring. Epine refers to a 7-membered ring structure. Now the brand name, Tegretol. The tiger portion is sometimes associated with trigeminal as a mnemonic link, since the drug is widely known for trigeminal neuralgia. The tol ending functions as a common brand style suffix. And that's Carbamazepine and Tegretol. The final drug name, Oxcarbazepine. The generic name is Oxcarbazepine. Again, Oxcarbazepine. The brand name is Trileptal. Again, Trileptal. The main use is seizures. Now let's build a memory link between the generic name and the brand name. First memory image, the ox triple leap. Picture an ox performing a triple leap. The ox reminds you of Oxcarbazepine. The triple leap reminds you of Trileptal. The ox triple leap. The second cue is triple oxygen. Oxygen reminds you of Oxcarbazepine. Triple reminds you of Trileptal. So you get triple oxygen. If these cues don't work for you, you can use the backup method. Repeat the smallest distinctive sound chunks to build muscle memory. Oxcarb, Trilep. Oxcarb, Trilep. Oxcarb, Trilep. Repeat as many times as you need. Now let's briefly look at how the name is built. The prefix ox is associated with an oxygen-related modification. Oxcarbazepine is structurally related to carbamazepine. Compared to carbamazepine, it contains one additional oxygen atom. That small structural change creates a distinct medication. Now let's look at the brand name. The tri portion may be associated with trigeminal as a mnemonic link. The leptal portion may be associated with epilepsy, again as a memory cue rather than a structural origin. And that's Oxcarbazepine and Trileptal. Those are the key anticonvulsants from the top 200 drug list.